Okay. I see. What are you doing? Are you listening?
Hello, listeners. As the saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. However, most people don't know the rest of the quote from one Alexander Graham Bell. But we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which has opened for us. The saying begs you to move past adversity, but acknowledges that most are paralyzed with disappointment, unable to move to what may possibly be bigger and better things. Now, as we all know, things aren't always in black and white. What do you do, listener, when a door slams in your face? Do you stay planted in front of the door out of spite while life speeds past? Do you obsess over ways to knock it down or pry it open while another takes an opportunity that could have been destined for you? Or do you move on to the next door, full of hope and optimism, only to realize that the previous door was merely jammed and you've passed up your moment? Whatever your choice, make sure you don't lose sight of what is most dear to you. The door. How can she not see it? She calls to me.
Honey, if you're in the den again, you'd better be working and not staring at the wall. We talked about this.
Condescending. She acts as if it's not there. Days ago, the pipes in the wall opposite this wretched door were spraying water and grime everywhere.
Oh well. We needed to redecorate in here anyway. Let's look at some paint.
Always the optimist. The next day, we called for a plumber and began to tear away the waterlogged wallpaper and dug into any parts of the wall that we feared would grow moldy from the moisture soaked into it. I uncovered what at first I thought was original wood paneling. However, as I pulled more and more layers off, the door slowly revealed itself. I walked over to my wife, who was writing out a check for the recently finished repairs, and asked her if we had another room while I pointed out the door.
What are you talking about? There's nothing on the other side of that wall other than the front yard.
She rolled her eyes and walked away to hand the check off to the plumber. I stood there, dumbfounded, before I slowly walked toward the door. Strangely, there was no knob. I hadn't even noticed. I supposed I wouldn't be opening this anytime soon. I decided to just finish the job, distractedly, as I kept an eye on it for the rest of the day. So today, in order to avoid the inevitable nagging, I start to paint the newly repaired white spackled wall with layers of dark shade of cherry red, which I've already got on my glasses. I'm wearing my favorite football jersey, but I should change out of it when I get the chance. I begin to work before my wife walks in to check on my progress. She smiles, apparently happy to continue to ignore the door embedded in the wall so mysteriously behind us. I look down at her. She reaches up and runs her fingers through my cropped light brown hair, then leans in to kiss me.
I'm gonna cook breakfast.
Before leaving, she turns back and says,
Make sure you shave those prickles off your face. I don't like it when it's all scratchy.
She continues to the kitchen. As soon as she leaves, a creak sounds behind me, sending a chill up my spine. I turn to look, knowing already the source of the sound. The door now hangs open. I can't help but walk forward to see what's inside. I peer in, and darkness greets me, accompanied by a draft of strangely stale air. Weirdly, the air is otherwise absolutely still, which makes me wonder where the draft is coming from. Touching the inside face of the door, I find that it's cold and slightly damp. I run my hand over its rough oak face. A splinter sticks under the skin of my index finger. Figures, the evil thing. Sucking on my wound, I size up the door one more time and reach for the knob. Where did that come from? I close my hand around the faded brass, and it's strangely warm in contrast to the wood. I wonder what's in the abyss, but between the goosebumps on the back of my neck, and without a flashlight in hand, I can't commit to crossing the threshold. I grin at the childish fear of the unknown beyond the frame and shake my head with disappointment in myself. I close it, saving my courage for another day. Later, as I lay next to my sleeping wife, the door won't get out of my head. Exhaustion eventually takes me, but my sleep is fraught with the wonder of what could be on the other side. I hear creaking in the night. My eyes flash open, fixing upon the alarm clock. Its red numbers blinking 12. I blink back at it. What time is it, I wonder? Probably sometime early morning. Darkness. The abyss behind the door. The creaking sound. My mind races. Tensing, I grip the mattress beneath me. I gaze past our bedroom doorway into the hall veiled with shadows. Carefully, I pull the deep red comforter off my body, along with the baby blue sheets that my wife insisted would be calming. I tiptoe over the springy, cream-colored carpet, sneak through the doorway, and across the hall to our linen closet. Digging through towels, I find my heavy night guard flashlight, flip the metal switch to the on position, and begin to sweep the second floor of the house. All clear. I make my way downstairs. During the search, I deny the idea of the door being behind my disturbance. But with each clear room, my fear becomes more real. Why fear? It's just a door, right? Right. My feet drag me along toward the only room left unchecked. Finally arriving, I find the room bare, stripped of its lived-in facade. With socks on, my feet slide across the hardwood floor, picking up the dust still left behind from the sanding that took place earlier. I come face to face with the door. It's probably just my eyes playing tricks on me, but I swear I can see a face in the pattern of the wood. I shake my head and wrap my hand around the knob. I open it. Dead air. I tell myself to grow a pair and walk in. Shining the light into the inky blackness, I see no end in sight. My footsteps don't make a sound. After exploring for what could be minutes, or maybe even hours for all I know, I've found nothing. I find it hard to breathe. My flashlight is starting to grow dim. I face the pinprick of light coming from the door and head back. Breathless, after what seems like an eternity, the door is finally in front of me. I can see into the den. The sun has come up, and its rays spill through the window. There's a man, painting the wall on the other side of the room. Did my wife hire someone to finish my work? I must not have been doing a good enough job. My wife enters and kisses him. She runs her hand through his short, light brown hair. She tells him,
I'm gonna cook breakfast.
I yell out in a rage.
I'll kill you, you motherfucker!
But the man turns around and I choke down the rest of my expletives. He's wearing a football jersey with ripped denim jeans. He's got a little paint on his small frame glasses, and he hasn't shaved in a couple of days.
Make sure you shave those prickles off your face. I don't like it when it's all scratchy.
I hear my wife in the distance. My mouth hangs agape, but I manage to close it and swallow hard. I move forward to walk back into the den. The man moves forward as well. I stop so close to him, he must be able to feel my breath on his face. I don't know what to do. He rubs his hand across the door before pulling away sharply. He He puts his finger in his mouth before grabbing the knob. He stops and looks at me, grinning and shaking his head. With a creak, he shuts the door. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to episode 2 of Shadow Stories. Your response to the first episode was fantastic, and we appreciate the support so much. We can't wait to hear what you all have to say about this one. Speaking of having a say, did you know you could have access to our writer's room on Discord? You can discuss ideas, plot points, characters, and more with me and any other members of the Shadow Stories team if you join our Patreon community at the Mastering Shadows tier. Along with that exclusive access, you'll be able to check out Patreon-exclusive creepypasta narrations, vote on which creepypastas to narrate, get behind-the-scenes early sneak peeks at episodes, get written versions of the stories, and more. If Patreon isn't your thing, but you really want to get involved, the main Discord server is still open for you with the link below. You can also share the episode with your friends, family, and monsters under your bed, or check out our current sponsors, itch.io and Humble Bundle, using the links below. Lastly, if you'd like to get involved in a more extensive way, we accept stories from guest writers. If you have a short horror story that is 10-ish pages or so, send it to shortstoriespod@gmail.com. Any other comments, questions, fan art, etc. can be sent to that address too, or you can get a hold of us through any of the links below, commenting and subscribing, or via the Cosmic Horror Rift. Disclaimer, Cthulhu probably doesn't give a damn about your message. Thanks again for everything so far. Stay tuned for some bloopers from the voice actors, and until next episode, are you listening?
I'll kill you, motherfucker!
What the hell was that?
I'll kill you, motherfucker! I'm an old-timer gold miner, fucking shit!
I'm going to cook breakfast. I'm gonna cook that breakfast.
Oh, here we go. Let's just go with the classic.
Get down! Get down! I'll kill you, motherfucker! I'll kill you!
What? Why am I trying to perfect an Arnold thing? This is not relative to this production. That's the worst in my life. I don't know if I've ever done one that was as bad.
I'm going to go. Okay.
A stunt. Paint the newly repaired white speckle. Whoa, take it easy there with the peas.
I like to paint the newly repaired speckle.
The hell? What's wrong with me?
I'm going to cook. I'm gonna cook a sheep. Where did my lines go? Uh-oh. Where did my lines go?